Dinosaur Adventure Land in lovely Lenox, Alabama. Was it beautiful out there today or what? What, 74 degrees? And we love it. You folks up in Canada, sorry about that. Anyway, October 17th, tonight will be in Exodus chapter 10. Pharaoh's hard heart destroyed his own kingdom. By the way, some of you dads or moms, your hard heart might destroy your own family. Keep your heart right with God. Good lesson here. Exodus chapter 10. Okay, we believe God ought to get the glory for his creation. You can follow us on Rumble or on Genesis Baptist Church on YouTube or on, Odyssey, Kent Hovind Official. There are a bunch of them listed on Dr.Dino.com. If you want to talk to somebody here, 855 BIG-DINO. After that, hit 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somebody will answer. Okay? It might be me if you hit 3, but I don't know nothing around here. Okay, coming to you live from Genesis Baptist Church. Old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating, post-trib, King James Baptist Church in Lenox, Alabama. Come visit. You stay in one of our cabins. These are a lot of fun, 25 cabins. Stay a couple days. After that, we put you to work, okay? And kids go nuts here. They love it. It's a great place to come. 140 acres, 17 lakes and ponds for fishing. Lots of fun stuff to do around here. What are you waiting for? Come on down. Okay, did I get it right? Look at that. Exodus 10. Wow, okay. Exodus 10. Don't forget all that. Help us to open for free if you'd like to. We could sure use the help there. Join us at join our 777 Club. Go to Dr.Dino.com, click whatever buttons you got to click, and say, I want to help you guys. Been open for 7.5 years now for free. We just want people to get saved, okay? Support us. I got to change it. We got more subscribers now, brother. Okay, I got to change it all the time. Donation for PayPal is down here if you want to help, and right there. Okay. Make any checks to CSE. We have all kinds of videos we've put out. We want to strengthen your faith. We have a series on creation, $50 for the whole thing. A series on what on earth is about to happen, 21 hours worth of that. On book, get our book or video series or both or the charts. We put a lot of time, energy, and money. This is not the right one. That is in the beginning. Never mind. Okay. It's a different one. Get the book. What on earth is drops a bunch of stuff. What on earth is about to happen for heaven's sake? Okay. Yeah, good place to bring your youth group, men's group, women's group. Come on down. Have a great time here. Okay, slide number 635. Took 2 minutes. Okay. Exodus chapter 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, can you imagine God talking to you? If God came and talked to you, what would he say? He'd like to. He usually speaks through his word. The more Bible I read and memorize, the more he's able to call verses to my mind. Oh, no, you're right, God. He generally speaks through the word. But you ought to get alone someplace, shut off the TV, shut off the dumb video games, quit chasing Zelda, and listen to God. Just listen. The Lord said to Moses, I want God to guide every step of my life. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't care. Go in unto Pharaoh, for I've hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him. God knew Pharaoh would harden his own heart, so God just made the conditions right where Pharaoh hardened his heart so that he could show the world. You know, we're still talking about it 3,500 years later. It showed the whole world a great lesson, didn't it? A bunch of lessons. That thou mayest tell in the ears of thy son and thy son's son what things I've wrought in Egypt. Moses, go tell Pharaoh I'm doing this so that my children can talk to their grandkids about how dumb you were for not listening. How many of you, your dad ever told you about, mom or dad told you about one of their neighbor's kids or one of their friends growing up that did something stupid to get you to prevent you from doing the same thing? Yeah. I like that. Idiots on bicycles, idiots in trucks, idiots on... The internet's full of that stuff, man. There's a lot of idiots out there. Let's see. In Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that they may know how that I am the Lord. See, the same sun that hardens the clay melts the butter. They just react differently. It's not the sun's fault. The sun is just shining on them, but one is trying to get hard when it gets the sunlight. The other is trying to get soft. How do you react when you get correction? When somebody says you're not doing that right, how do you react? Well, I don't know. You got to answer it to God about that. But despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. God is always going to be correcting us on something. Do this different, do that different. As a fool, through the correction of People, they don't get it. They don't listen. Correction is grievous to him that forsaketh the way. He that hateth reproof shall die. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Good way to get the foolishness out of a child, with a rod, okay? In vain I have smitten you, children. They received no correction. Some people just don't listen. Doesn't matter what happens, they're not going to get it, okay? They have refused to receive correction, made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. Thou shalt say to them, this is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of the Lord their God, nor receiveth correction. Truth is perished, cut off from their mouth. He established them for correction. Zephaniah, she obeyed not the voice, she received not correction. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. That's what the scripture is for. It's to correct you. You read it and say, oh, wow, I shouldn't be doing that. Okay, well then quit doing it. Okay. Some people learn when they pay a fine for not following the rules. Anybody ever got a traffic ticket before? Yeah. And then when you realize it's going to cost me $80 or whatever, oh, I better not do that again. Some people only learn when they get arrested. Then they thought, well, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Some people only learn when they spend time in prison for not following the rules. Some people never learn and have to be killed. There's a death penalty for quite a few things, you know. They don't get it. They don't think it applies to them. Okay. Bad attitude can sometimes be seen on the face by everyone except the one that's got it. Are you not listening to God about something in your life? What's your attitude toward God? If God told you to do something, would you do it? God told Pharaoh, let the people go. He didn't want to do it yet. Bad attitude can be seen in the face. That kid he's upset about something, isn't he? Bad attitude. Hey, son, listen to me. Oh, brother, here we go again, Dad. All right, I'm not listening. Bad. I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear it, Mom. I don't want to hear it. Okay. Can you hear me now? Some people listen with their jaw. Did you know that? Yeah. Some people, can you hear me now? That will explain it to them. Mm-hmm. Can you hear me now? Mm-hmm. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? God's going to have to send some people to hell. They just don't get it. Pharaoh is obviously not learning in spite of all God has done to try to get him to listen. He tried. And Moses and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh and said to him, thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go that they may serve me. The message is the same every time, Pharaoh. Would you listen? Okay. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, here we go again. Behold, tomorrow I will bring the locust unto thy coast. Locust. And he shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped. Egypt's going to run out of food here, okay? Everything's getting eaten. All their cows are dying. Which remaineth unto you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field. And they shall fill thy houses, and the houses of thy servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went out. Moses went in, delivered the message, turned around, walked out. I don't think you do that to a king normally. May I be excused? No, I'm just leaving, Pharaoh. Too bad. And Pharaoh's servant said to him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve the Lord their God. Knowest thou not yet that Egypt is destroyed? Now, some of you dads, you listen to me. Don't you know yet that you have destroyed your family? Don't you see it yet? Moms, don't you understand you've destroyed? Maybe some of you kids have destroyed your relationship with your parents, and it's you from your rebellious, stubborn heart. Pharaoh destroyed his own country because of his bad attitude. What are you destroying? How is your attitude? Are you able to receive correction? If not, you're going to be destroying something. What on earth are you doing, for heaven's sake? Noah, don't you know, Pharaoh? His own servants are saying, boss, you're messing up here, bud. And Moses and Aaron were brought again unto Pharaoh. And he said unto them, Go serve the Lord your God. Oh, it sounds like he's getting it. No, he ain't getting it. But who are they that shall go? Moses said, we will go with our young, with our old, with our sons, with our daughters, with our flocks, and with our herds will we go, for we must hold a feast unto the Lord. And he said unto them, let the Lord be so with you, as I will let you go. And your little ones, look to it, for evil is before you, not so. Now go now, ye that are men, and serve the Lord. Oh, Pharaoh, you're only going to let the men go. See, he's trying to compromise. Just you, and this people fall for this one all the time. Dad says, I'm going to go to church and serve God, but I'm not going to make my family come. Not going to read the Bible to them. I'm not going to force it on my kids. This is a compromise. Pharaoh said, hey, you men, go serve God. Leave your family out of it. Brother Meister, have you ever seen that in your 62 years of ministry? Isn't that sad? Be the leader, Dad. For that you did desire, and they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. And the Lord said to Moses, stretch out thy hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts. Driven out. Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the field of the land, even all the hail that has left. What was the meaning and the purpose of the 10 plagues of Egypt? Gotquestions.org, good website, has a lot of stuff on this. Before God brought the next plague, he told Moses that the Israelites would be able to tell their children the things they had seen God do and how it showed them God's power. The 8th plague, locusts, again, focused on nut, that God nut. Somebody told me I'm not pronouncing it right. Oh, yeah, like you were there 3,500 years ago and you speak ancient Egyptian. From now on, it's pronounced nut. You understand? Thus saith Kent Hovind. Okay. Osiris and Set. The later crops, wheat and rye, which had survived the hail, were now devoured by the swarm of locusts. No harvest that year in Egypt. Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind over the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over the land of Egypt and rested in all the coasts of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such. A plague of locusts from the Smithsonian descends upon the Holy Land just in time for Passover. In 2013, you mean just 10 years ago, they had another plague of locusts? It's a common thing over there. But remember, he said, Pharaoh, you're going to get a plague like you've never had before and never will be again. So the one they had 10 years ago is not as bad as Pharaoh had, okay? You can read Smithsonian there. Locust, most people agree it's probably another name for the grasshopper. And boy, what they come together and just all the babies hatch at the same time and they all take off and they're all hungry. Locusts, cover the trees, cover the bushes, eat it down to nothing. Locust attacks still occur today, as farmers in Sudan and Egypt well know. Farmers in Israel can also join this unfortunate group. Earlier today, a swarm of locusts arrived in Israel from Egypt just in time for the Jewish Passover holiday, which commemorates Jews' escape from Egyptian slavery. What a time to remind the Jews, hey, Jews, you're still not following the Lord. The correlation with the Bible is interesting in terms of timing, since the 8th plague happened sometime before the Exodus, said Hendrik Bruins, a researcher at the Department of Man in the Desert at Ben-Gurion University. Now we wait for the plague of darkness, he joked. In this region of the world, talking about the Middle East, locusts swarm every 10 to 15 years. No one knows why they stick to that sky cycle, and predicting the phenomena remains challenging for researchers. In this case, an unusually rainy winter led to excessive vegetation, supporting a boom in locust population along the Egyptian-Sudanese border. As in past swarms, once the insect population devours all the local vegetation, the hungry herbivores take flight in search of new feeding grounds. Locusts, which is just a term for 10 to 15 species of grasshoppers, that swarm can travel 90 miles a day, carried mostly by the wind. The plagues of 1987 and 88, a notoriously bad period for locusts, some of the befuddled insects managed to wash up on the Caribbean. They made it across the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. When grasshoppers switch from a sedentary solo lifestyle to a swarming lifestyle, generally they're all they live by themselves, eat their grass, and leave everybody alone. But they get into this mood once in a while. Hey, let's get together and go attack Israel. Okay. They undergo a series of physical, behavioral, and neurological changes. You should Google how they change. They get longer. Their teeth, they change a lot of their body. It just happens. And they get into swarming mode. According to Amir, the zoology department, this shift is one of the most extreme cases of behavioral plasticity found in nature. Before swarming, locusts morph from their normal tan or green to a bright black, yellow, or red exoskeleton. Females begin laying eggs in unison, which then hatch in sync, all hatch at the same time, and fuel the swarm. In this way, a collection of 1 million insects can increase by an order of magnitude to 1 billion in a matter of several days. You got 1 million of them, all of a sudden you got 1,000 times more in a couple days, and they swarm. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the field, all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herbs of the field throughout all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. It keeps sounding like he's just almost going to get it, but he never does. Now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my sin only this once, and entreat the Lord your God that he may take away from me this death only. Some people, when the pressure's on and they're hurting or they're broke or the locusts or everything's going wrong, they can sound awfully good. They sound, Brother Meister, don't they? They sound like they repented. They sound like, man, I'm going to come to church every Sunday. I'm going to sell my house and give all the money to the poor. They make all kinds of promises. And he went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord. He said, take it away this one, please. And the Lord turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the coasts of Egypt. But God did what he wanted him to do, got rid of all of them. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so he would not let the children of Israel go. And the Lord said to Moses, stretch out thy hand toward heaven, and there shall be darkness over the land of Egypt. Keep in mind, the god Ra was the sun god. This darkness is going to make him look kind of weak, isn't it? Come on, Ra, you're the sun god. Ra, 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 go get him. Turn the lights on. Even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness over all the land of Egypt 3 days. The ninth plague, darkness, was aimed at the sun god, Ra, who was symbolized by Pharaoh himself. For 3 days, the land of Egypt was smothered with an unearthly darkness, but the homes of the Israelites had light. Egyptian sun god, Ra. See, Ra is depicted as a bird, had a bird brain. Very appropriate in my humble opinion. My humble, totally unbiased, and always correct opinion, by the way. Ra, the sun god with the bird brain. There we go. Go get him, Ra. Ra, Ra, Ra. You can pay $45 and get your name changed to Ra too if you want. I don't think I'm going to do that. Okay. There he is, bird brain. Egyptian god of the sun. Okay. In whom the god of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine into them. See, God is light. He brought darkness for 3 days. He's trying to teach the Egyptians, look, God, your gods they're just made up. They're carvings on a rock. They're not God. And you evolutionists, your family trees, those are just lines somebody drew on paper. That's not science. It's not true. Give it up. Your geologic column is a bunch of baloney. It's not true. There is no geologic column. There is no fossil record. All those fossils, or nearly all of them, came from Noah's flood. Revelation 21. For the glory of God did shine, and the Lamb is the light thereof. See, God is light, 1 John 1:5. And they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. Couldn't even get up and go to the bathroom for 3 days. And we won't follow that thought any further. Okay. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, go ye, serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Oh, brother. He's trying another compromise. Let your little ones also go with you. Moses had some excuses. He said, I'm not qualified. I don't know your name. They won't believe me. I can't speak well. Who's going to send with me? My own people won't listen to me. Pharaoh sure won't. Now, Pharaoh's doing some compromising. This is his fourth compromise. Several times he said, yeah, you can go. And then he changed his mind. No, you can't go. No, you can't go. Fourth compromise. Many Christians fall for the devil's compromises. Pharaoh's compromise to avoid God's clear instructions. Stay in the land. Remember the first time he said, you can sacrifice to God, but you got to stay here. No, sorry. Don't go very far away. Some people fall for that one. They get saved and stay close to the world, okay? Only the men can go. You go, but leave your flocks and herds behind. The Pharaoh probably is realizing about now that he don't have any cows left. So you guys give me your cows. Oh, no, we're taking everything, Pharaoh. And Moses said, thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings that we may sacrifice unto the Lord our God. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof be left behind. For therefore, thereof must we take to serve the Lord our God. And we know not with what we must serve the Lord until we come thither. Said Pharaoh, we don't know for sure what we need. We're going to take it all. Good advice from my dad. Son, learn everything you can about everything. His attitude growing up was, boys, I don't care what you do for a living, but I'm going to teach you how to do everything. And my mom put just a love of learning. I read the whole encyclopedia set from start to finish in like fourth grade. I just wanted to learn everything. Boy Scout motto, be prepared. That's why I carry my Swiss Army knife. Hey, Brother Hovind, you got an ink pen on you? Always got one on my Swiss Army knife. Sure, itty bitty one, hard to use, but you got one on you? Mm-hmm. Got a tweezers? Oh yeah, Brother Hovind got a tweezers right here. How about a toothpick? Yeah. How about a screwdriver? How about a scissors? How about a Phillips? How about a Torx drive? How about a magnifying glass? How about a flashlight? Oh yeah. This is why Switzerland has never been invaded. You'd be a fool to attack a country when they all have one of these. Yeah. Right. Okay. It's better to know things you don't need than need things you don't know. Sorry, Pharaoh. We're taking everything. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart that he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said, get thee from me, take heed to thyself, see my face no more. Don't you come here again. For in the day that thou seest my face, thou shalt die. Moses said, thou hast well spoken. I'll see thy face again no more. Pharaoh didn't get it. I'm afraid God is speaking to some of you about something. And you're not listening, are you? Or you're half listening, but you're sure not obeying. Maybe God's called some of you to a mission field. Maybe God's called some of you to start a ministry. I wish we had 10,000 more people teaching on creation. Start a ministry. People call me pretty frequently, Brother Hovind, how do you start a ministry? I say, well, it's very simple. Did you go to public high school? Almost always they say, yeah. I say, did they ever have fights in the hallway? Well, yeah, once in a while. What happens as soon as somebody hollers, fight, fight, what's the next thing that happens? Everybody comes to watch. Tell you what, you want to start a ministry? Start a fight. Publish a letter in the newspaper saying evolution is stupid. God made the world in 6 days. That's all you got to do. Back off. You watch. It'll start a ministry. They'll be hating you and loving you at the same time. Some hate you, some love you. I wish we had a lot of people doing this. You could find something to do. What has God called you to do? I don't know. You got to answer to him about that. But what are you doing? What is your calling in life? Say, God, you ought to get alone, shut off the TV, quit chasing Zelda, and go sit and talk to God. Say, God, what do you want from me? What did you give me, and what do you want out of it? See, I don't think God called me to be a mother. I'm certain of that, okay? What did he call you to do? Go talk to him about it. Go ask him. Find something to do. Man, there's a war going on. If you're not going to shoot, carry bullets, pay for the bullets, take care of the wounded. I mean, during wartime, there's plenty to be done, isn't there? You have to be told what to do. Sir, that guy got shot in the arm. Would you please pick him up and take him to the hospital? Oh, okay. You got to be told everything? I stop by the ant pile with the kids when I take my tour. You cut the side off the ant pile with a machete. Hey, watch this. Instantly, all of them get to work. Solomon said, Proverbs 6:6, we should go to the ant. We should look at the ant and consider her ways and be wise. Nobody tells them what to do. They just see it and do it. If you always have to be told what to do, you're dumber than an ant. That's not a compliment. They're this big and their brain is like that big. You're dumber than an ant if you always have to be told what to do. Can't you see anything? Some people can't. Walk right past work. One guy said, I'm not afraid of work. I can lay down right next to it and go to sleep. Okay. I believe you. Okay. Questions and comments? Sorry. world. Could I ask what you think about Hindus? Satan has always tried to offer many false religions to make it confusing. Many of the Hindus are very sincere, very dedicated, no question, but they have absolutely the wrong God. I would call them like the Egyptians, okay? Their own gods. They got a whole bunch of gods. There can only be one God by definition. There is one God, and he ain't none of the ones the Hindus worship. So very similar to the Egyptians worshiping a bunch of false gods, okay? Dr. Kent, can you explain about Ron Wyatt, his archaeological discoveries? Thank you. Ron, I disagreed with him on a couple of theological things, but I knew him pretty well. Lived in Tennessee. He discovered some really amazing things. I really am convinced he did discover the Ark of the Covenant, the box about the size of my desk that they kept the Ten Commandments in. And he really did discover the Noah's Ark and the Red Sea crossing site. I'll show you a picture here. One guy, I couldn't believe this guy was talking about. Where'd it go? I got to hang on, shrink that down. See, it really helps if you ask the questions in the same order I have the answers. I'll need that back up in a minute, brother. Part 7, seminar part 7. If you get my seminar series, all this is answered on there. Let's see, I've got, there. Yeah, part 7, $10, or just old series for $50. Bobby, you work in the bookstore. Does anybody buy just one video at a time? Did you get the whole series? Or? Sometimes, yeah. I get whatever ones you want. Okay. Where's the Red Sea crossing site? No, that's Red Shift. Or Pyramid. Was the earth a hot molten mass? No. Ark of the Covenant. All these slides are about those topics you asked, but I want to find the Red Sea crossing. There it is. Okay. Why don't they find evidence of a whole army drowning? Well, it's been 3,500 years, okay? Go find evidence of World War I soldiers drowning. If you know, God said, and go and camp by the sea. Children of Israel shall go on dry ground. Exodus 14, we'll get there soon here. And the water was a wall on the right hand and on the left. It wasn't just ankle-deep water. It was a wall of water. God took off the chariot wheels. We'll get all that in Exodus 14. And the waters returned and covered the chariots, okay? And he turned the sea into dry land, Psalm 66. So the country of Egypt is right here, this area called the Middle East. That Red Sea comes up and has two forks coming off of it, the Gulf of Aqaba and the Gulf of Suez. In between, they call that the Sinai Peninsula. It should not be called that because Mount Sinai is not there. Sinai is over in Arabia. Children of Israel followed that red line and crossed that side of the Red Sea, right there. There's a dry riverbed that runs right up to it. When you follow that dry riverbed, it ends up on a huge beach. You can actually see the beach right there. It's pretty small on the satellite image, but there it is. There's the Red Sea crossing site, that beach, big enough to hold 2 million people, easy. They come out of the mountains. They're trapped against the sea. Pharaoh's coming behind them through that valley they just walked through. He's upset, okay? Real upset. So Ron Wyatt found the place and he found a pillar that apparently Solomon had made. Would have been 1,500 years after the event, because the pillar this pillar was erected by King Solomon to commemorate the crossing of the Red Sea. Go to WyattMuseum.com and see all that. There's Gilbert, a friend of mine, standing on top of the pillar. When they found it, it was down in the sand, and they dug it out and put it up. It had Hebrew writing on there that said, this is the place where they crossed the Red Sea. So the water right there, when you go across the Gulf of Aqaba, is about 900 feet deep in the middle. So right through there, 900 feet deep. You end up in Saudi Arabia. It's about 9 miles across, which is, in Boy Scouts, we took 20-mile hikes all the time, so a 9-mile walk is, half a day. With carrying all your stuff and kids and babies, maybe take them all day. Dear friends, we found the underwater passage site. All this is on seminar part 7. So the waters were a wall unto them, it says clearly. Children of Israel went through, and there was a wall. When they got to the other side, God said, Moses, stick out your rod, and they did, and it collapsed. Well, so the whole army's drowned down there. They find human bones, human rib cage, a hand preserved in coral. There's chariot wheels. Now, some of the chariot wheels had gold plating, and coral won't stick to gold. So they're still down there, just like that. One atheist said, "Oh, that right there, that's not a chariot axle. That's the way coral grows."
Why are you going around it like that?
Yeah, that's the way coral grows, all right. Yeah, I never thought about that. Some of them have 4 spokes, some have 6, and some have 8. The only dynasty to ever use all 3 types of wheels is the one that chased Moses out. So they come across at the Red Sea and end up over here. Jabal Allah is the mountain of laws over there. So the Bible says Mount Sinai is in Arabia. You get my video 7 and you can get all my slides on a thumb drive for $100, all 50-some thousand of them, and get all that stuff. Okay, more question. Anyway, I believe Ron found all that. I really do. Okay. Biochemistry is not chance. I agree. It inevitably produces complex products. I disagree. Up to a limit. Does it produce life? Amino acids and other complex molecules are known to form in space. Crybaby, you read too much science fiction, okay? You need to knock it off, all right? Nobody knows what the most primitive cells look like. There's no such thing as a primitive cell, crybaby. No such thing. If it's a functioning cell, it's more complex than the space shuttle. One functioning cell. You don't get it. Somebody has really brainwashed you. Didn't take a lot of water, I don't think. Okay. Ronnie, getting hard to find entertaining Christian content that is educational. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. All right. Let's see. I can get your thoughts on the passage, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart.
This one is in the same thing.
Well, it's like the sun shining on the butter and on the clay. God knew how Pharaoh would react. So God just simply set up the situation. If you have a son or a daughter that you know is a thief, you set up the situation, you hide a camera someplace, and you put the cookies on the shelf, and you tell them, don't touch the cookies. But you know they're going to go do it. You're not making them do it. It's their theft in their heart that makes them do it, but you just happen to know. God just knew how Pharaoh was going to react. So he set these, God warned him 10 times. He knew Pharaoh wouldn't listen, but it's not God's fault. It's Pharaoh's fault, 100%. And if you go off into sin, and you know it's wrong, but you do it anyway, don't blame God. Now, God knew ahead of time you were going to do it. He knew, but he didn't make you do it. Neither did the devil. The devil gets blamed for stuff he didn't even do. Yeah. Okay, let's see. My daughter, Lise, and I would like to see a video on how sperm whale evolved. Their clicks can kill a scuba diver, and whale song can be heard around the world. Stars create sound when God didn't finish it. Okay. I've got a long list of creatures to do for Friday night, making babies. I need to add the sperm whale on there.
The right whale and the wrong whale.
The wrong whale. Yeah, we did the right whale. We didn't do the wrong one yet. Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Come visit Dinosaur Adventure Land. It's free. Don't even need to bring a hammer or shovel. We got them both. Come on, get to work. Let's go.